Hey, Team Allstars TV here. I'm Genevieve Chappelle, and I'm talking with Kyle Mohan. And you're a driver for how many years?
Well, I started in 2000 with the professional drifting, so I've been driving on the different series here in America for about 6-7 years.
And you got all kinds of sponsors now.
Oh yeah, we're doing really good. You know, Cooper Tires, Mazda, Circuit City, 5 Zig Wheels, AWR built these cars. They're just a beautiful car, and you know, Mazda's cars from the factory are just great cars, so it's just a joy to be driving with this team.
And those are huge names. I mean, how does that feel as a driver? That's a huge accomplishment.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, I've been working at this for the past 6 years, and it feels great to be here with these teams and these people, and it's just really a proud feeling, a proud moment.
The whole drifting thing is getting really big, and it's actually even new to me. So one of the questions that I have is, how close is this to a street car?
Well, that's one of the really nice things about drifting is it does utilize the unibody chassis from basically a street car. This is a MX-5 from Mazda. Basically, we pulled it right off the showroom floor, and from there we began building it up. Suspension components, brake components, bumped up the horsepower with a very nice Cosworth power plant. But essentially the chassis itself, the tires you're running on, are just like what you would have in your street car, your daily driver. So anybody can take their mom's rear-wheel drive car and take it out to the track and start having fun.
How did you personally get started in drifting?
Well, that's one of the things that was really nice about it is I basically took my street car, went out and bought a helmet, started going to some sanctioned track days, and just started having fun, getting out at the track and drifting. And that's really what makes drifting so accessible to the average person is you can use a street car, you can use your daily driver, and you can still drive it to and from the track. It's not a purpose-built race car until really you want it to be.
But you were driving before that, is that right? Were you an experienced driver before that?
Actually, I didn't have a lot of experience before I started drifting. I did a little bit of go-karting, did a little bit of autocrossing, played with a lot of RC cars, and just really loved the automotive spirit and everything that's involved in it. And, you know, just took the passion one step further and took it to the track and became very motivated. One thing leads to another, and you can see where you end up.
So for someone just starting out, some words of wisdom.
Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. Everything's accessible. You just really got to want it. Put your heart into it. Be professional and go for it because you can do what you want.
I like how you say be professional. I think that's a really good point to bring out because this isn't I'm going to take my car out and see how fast it can go on the 405 freeway. This being professional means making wise decisions and being careful and also being respectful to your life and other people's lives, which would include...
Exactly. Taking it to the track. This is not something that you should be doing on public roads. At this point, pretty much every weekend there are sanctioned events going on, and there's no reason to be abusing laws or yourself or your car or putting other people at risk. Be professional, take it to the track, and trust me, you'll have tons of fun.
And one thing that people should realize, especially if you're going to get started in drifting, is if you are a professional, that's when you get noticed by the professionals. So it's not about just street racing. It's really about if you want to take it to the next level, if you want to be a professional driver, if Kyle has inspired you,
then just go for it. Get out there, put on your best, clothes, put on your best shoes, get your car looking good, and talk to everybody you can because chances are they'll want to help you. Things in racing that, everybody says, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. But drifting really, I mean, you can go to a used tire store, pick up some tires, you get a $200 helmet, and you can get out on the track. It's accessible. It's not as financially hard as a lot of professional sports out there, or motorsports for that matter.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I know being a female, and if someone says, hey, where'd you get that jacket? I can tell them where to get the bargains. So how about for automotive products? Like you said, you can go get some used tires. Was there a place when you were first starting out that you really liked to pick up some bargains here and there?
Well, obviously, I just had some friend shops and stuff. Mazda Tricks really supported me. Cooper Tires, they had some really reasonable priced tires, able to get out on the track with great performance, and you just kind of shop thriftily. There's no real reason to waste money, and really it all comes down to having fun and making do with what you have.
Well, let me ask you this: what do you do with all the stuff that you've grown out of?
I hand it down to a lot of other drifters. I sometimes do instructing. I try to help people out. I got friends that are out at the track that haven't quite made it to the level I do, and all the professionals out there, all the main players, they really try to help any of the amateurs trying to come up. It's a sport with a lot of camaraderie in it.
So that comes back to You guys need to surround yourself in this environment. Talk to these guys, because you know what? You never know. You might get a helmet from Kyle.
Yeah, chances are we're pretty friendly.
Right. Team Allstars TV here. I'm Genevieve Chappelle. I'm speaking with driver Johnny Cannabis. I love that name. It's like a professional driver's name. Is that your real name?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So how long have you been drifting?
I've been drifting for about 5 years now. I come from a road racing background, both amateur and professional. So I've been driving stuff for about 17 years, focusing on drifting for about 5.
That's amazing. 17 years. I mean, you started like right out of the womb.
Yeah, pretty much. Starting go-karts and then starting cars pretty young.
How's the transition been, turning over to drifting?
Not too bad. You know, drifting is the fun part of driving. That's where you get to throw all the rules out the window, sort of, and just have at it. You know, you're not so worried about not sliding the car and all that. You get to really get out there and hang the car out and just have a lot of fun.
How does one get started? What if somebody doesn't have a lot of experience as a professional driver?
You know, the best way to get started, at least today, would be go online. There's tons of message boards out there. There's a lot of clubs online. There's regional clubs. You can go out and bring your street car out there, and there's instructors that'll work with you, and they'll kind of build you up from nothing into a drifter.
That's awesome. I had no idea that there's actually instructors out there that will do that.
Absolutely, and that's where I got my start from. And in fact, that's where most of my drifting is from, is being a drift instructor.
So is that like a course that you would take?
It's not necessarily a course, as it is just days that you go out, like track days. You'll go out and you can have an instructor work with you throughout the day.
Do you mind me asking how much something like that would cost?
It ranges from a couple $100 and up. It just depends how much you do it, and if you're having private instruction versus just having someone work with you a little bit through the day. But it can range.
So what if you got a group of your friends together and someone called on you and said, "Hey, Johnny, come out and hang out with 10 of us and give us some instruction"?
It'd be awesome.
That works out?
I do that kind of work all the time. I love it.
The one thing I noticed about the drivers is that they seem to be very passionate about sharing suggestions and tips. It's like you want to keep this going, and so you're very motivated to train other guys to do it.
Absolutely. We're all looking to grow the sport. Motorsports has really blown up in the last decade, and with drifting being introduced, it's really caught on, and we're just looking to share that. We want other people to get involved, and we want more drivers, more teams, more money being thrown into the sport.
You personally, where would you like to see drifting, let's just say, in 1 year from now?
I just think I'd like to see it more accepted with some of the bigger organizations, like the way NASCAR has become, and say some of the road racing series like Grand Am and stuff. Just more accepted, more people there, more people being involved. Maybe integrate some of the events with some of the like Grand Prix, stuff like that. Definitely. Yeah.
It's drawing a huge crowd. People absolutely love it. And I would say that there's still some questions out there because maybe there's another generation that just doesn't understand it. Okay, so you talked about message boards. Now, message boards would be a good place to start because you can kind of educate yourself that way. Exactly what is drifting, what goes into it, right? What are some of those message boards?
Well, drifting.com is probably the best one to go to. That's where a lot of the drivers will show up there, and you can ask them questions. Johnny's
getting the signal to turn this baby on. So let's hear this horsepower. Let's hear what you got under here. Oh, yeah. I love that feeling. That's Mazda power right there, baby. That's all about Mazda. What do you have under the hood?
It's a Formula Atlantic motor built by Cosworth that is in all the Formula Atlantic cars that run with the Champ Car series. Full-blown race motor, dry sumped. AWR built the cars, and Cosworth has done all the engine development for us.
It just feels fast. In fact, it even smells fast.
It is fast and loud.
I love it.